that was that came on YouTube and let your boy know that it was a sub-only chat. Did not intend to do that. All right, folks. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Welcome back on TikTok. Now, for you folks that may have been watching, you obviously heard the monologue that I was giving. And that is the whole question, is that at what point is Trump responsible for being told what actually happened on January 6th? Just because I don't want to believe something, does that give me the right to say it did not happen? Or better yet, the opposite is what took place? We often get warned of things all the time. You may get some type of letter in the mail about your property, or maybe it's something about your vehicle. Do you get to simply suggest, I don't trust the people that sent me the letter? Or better yet, in Trump's case, I don't respect them. You sent me such and such, warning me that I was speeding or my registration is about to expire, whatever the hell it may be. And the response is, oh, I don't respect the state of Colorado or wherever the hell you live. Do you get to say that? Because Trump went on January 6th and told folks he had not only won the election, he won it by a landslide, suggesting that Biden took the election. By the way, in the comments real quick, says, I can't pronounce the name, but you asked, did you actually watch the whole interview? Yeah, actually I did. And I just concluded about 30 minutes ago, but I watched it yesterday. The portions they showed on Meet the Press as well. But the whole interview is a little bit over an hour. I did watch the entire interview. In fact, the part where Trump suggests that he didn't trust, or better yet, he didn't respect the folks that told him he lost on January 6th. I'll give you the reference point. If you will, you can simply go to YouTube, type in Meet the Press full broadcast September 17th, skip to the 8-minute, 16-second mark. That is where it's at. 8 minutes and 16 seconds into that interview, she asked him, the most senior members of your administration told you after losing 60 plus challenges in court that your process of challenging this is over with. Why didn't you believe him? Why did you totally ignore him? His response is, I didn't respect him. So that's your answer to, did I watch the entire interview? Looking in the comments, his own family told him to not respect for them either, I guess. Elisa, I don't know where the level of respect came in, but at some point, that's the question we're asking. At what point are you responsible for actually being told what happened? We're 3 years out. Trump still doesn't believe he lost. At what point are you responsible for the information that's been given to you? Does he just get to go around holding rallies saying forever that Biden stole the election with little to no evidence at all? Certainly, if you believe the election was not held properly, the notion that Biden stole it from Trump, where's the evidence of that? Where is the evidence that President Biden himself specifically interfered with the 2020 election? Because that's what Trump is telling folks. In fact, on the Meet the Press interview, he also stated that because he is a worthy competitor to President Biden, Biden himself directed the government to indict Trump. Trump just stated that also yesterday on that interview, that Biden himself directed the DOJ to indict him. Do you have to have evidence for this stuff? Or is it okay to just throw something out? Perhaps maybe the DOJ themselves are at odds with President Trump. We know Merrick Garland, who was prevented from becoming a Supreme Court justice, could possibly have a gripe with the Republican Party and folks like Mitch McConnell. That's possible. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is not. It's possible. But when you go up and suggest that President Biden himself specifically ordered the government to indict Trump, do you have to have proof of that? Is that just something you can throw out there? Are we now in an atmosphere where you can say whatever the hell you want without any type of proof, evidence, consequences, or anything? When you hold that high of a ground, he's the president of the United States. Looking in the comment section. By the way, folks, the box is open. I don't know what's going on. I may have to move it to the other channel on TikTok. Do you think Biden got that many votes? I can definitely see the point. Johnny Moore. I don't have access to ballot boxes, polling places, election officials. I do not have access to it. It's a good question. Did Biden get that many votes? On its face, consider how much Trump was campaigning and the way Biden was campaigning, it doesn't look like you would get that type or that many votes. However, just because something doesn't look the way I think it should look doesn't give me the right to say it didn't happen that way. You still need evidence, even though it doesn't look that way. I get the question, how the hell could Biden get more votes than Obama? It's a legitimate question. But you can't just automatically make the leap and say it didn't happen at all. And that's what Trump and a lot of the supporters are saying. Is because it didn't look right, therefore it did not happen at all. You can't make that leap without more evidence. Currently, the only evidence is, well, it didn't look right. You got to have more evidence than that. Looking in the comment section, we know that people voted Trump out of office in 2020 more than they voted Biden in. 100% agree with that. 100% agree that Biden most likely received more anti-Trump votes than he received pro-Biden votes. I totally agree with that. Or even if it's not more, it's certainly millions of Americans voted against Trump. If you had a third category, and I'll go to the box. If you had a third category on the ballot, one being Trump, one being Biden, and another box saying, I don't support Biden, but I really dislike Trump. And you could put a check in that box where I'm not a big fan of Biden, but I really dislike Trump. That box would get tens of millions of votes. That box would get a lot of votes. But because that box doesn't exist, Biden gets those votes by default. Appreciate those shades there. Sunrise. Thank you. Sunshine, rather. Thank you for those glasses. Going to the box. We'll make it happen with Duke of the photo there. Looks like from Rambo. Duke, good afternoon. Okay.
Yeah, that's my persona, Rumble. Man, it's hard to get into your program. What's going on? Hey, what's going on at Hampton Lumber?
Not much now. We just started today, so it's not hard to get in today.
Yeah, I know. I just accidentally caught you. Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump.
Let me, before you go through the rundown, I just want to ask you this. Because we're asking, what did Trump know on January 6th? On Meet the Press, the host told them most of the upper members of your administration told you that you had exhausted all of your legal challenges. Why did you still proceed on January 6th to go there and say you won? And his response was, well, I didn't respect none of these members of my administration. So I'm asking you, at what point are you responsible for knowing what you've been told in an official capacity?
That's a good question. Trump always talks off the cuff. He speaks his mind because he's a native New Yorker.
Right. Well, wait a minute though. It's a difference between speaking your mind and talking off the cuff and just basically saying something where you had no evidence of.
Well, handsome liberal, of course, we don't have no evidence of what Trump is talking about, but
Why not?
It's
been 3 years. He's had 60 court cases. Why don't we have any evidence?
I understand because I'm gonna tell you how the mind of us Trump supporters what we're saying. Y'all did I'm gonna tell you this. Y'all did a damn good job. They did their homework on how to do this one, on how to steal this one. A good thief, a good robber, knows how to rob and hide the evidence, or try their best doing so. And I'm gonna tell you, the Democratic establishment knew that Biden had no chance. They knew it, and they plotted, and they did it. They did it. I actually applaud them for,
Where is
because
the
I was
evidence?
watching.
I'm hearing you. I need evidence. You're basically doing January 6th. You're throwing a bunch of
Because
stuff out there. Where is the
I'm gonna
evidence of the plotting?
I'm gonna say, just like you said a few minutes ago, just because there's no evidence of it, don't mean that it didn't happen.
True. That is true, but that doesn't mean that it did happen either.
Right, because the average human being just like Stacey Abrams, the average human being that was watching the elections, seen when we went to bed that Trump was in the lead. We seen it. We was watching the elections like everybody else. We're not an election guru or expert, but we was watching that. And when I went to bed and watched the elections, Trump and the polls had closed. Trump was in the lead. I wake up, Trump had lost. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. And I don't care if it's sports. I don't care if whatever it is. When you see cheating going on, just because there's no evidence of it, people are like, wait a minute, come on now, But
So let
hey,
me so let me ask you this. In regards to the suggestion that you're seeing cheating going on and it drew your suspicion, and you're like, what is this? I could cheat as a liberal and vote maybe when I have a felony or maybe when I shouldn't be allowed to vote, and I could actually cheat and still vote. But does that mean the Republican Party won because I cheated? Even if you are correct in suggesting that cheating took place, how does cheating automatically equate to Trump winning by a landslide?
you know, Trump, I, I'm I ain't gonna answer that question. I don't have the answer for it. I don't. I don't.
Come on, Duke. We go way back. That is why you're here, is to answer the question.
Man, hey, look, there's been cheating on both sides. That I can't.
With it.
You're right. I can't answer that question, man, because they both times this has happened a lot of times, and this has been going on, and it's been people been saying that there's been cheating in elections. Like I said, Stacey Abrams even said so in her deal. Uh,
But then it goes back to my original question then. Why is Trump saying he won by a landslide? Even you who support Trump, when pressed, is like, listen, things didn't look right. But even you're not at the point of saying the man won by a landslide. Why is he saying that?
Because man, we was watching the numbers on the election. We was watching it, and then to turn out and say that Biden got more votes than Obama. Oh, really? I
But
mean,
you're, like I said,
the average Democrat can say, wait a minute. There's no way that Biden was more charismatic than Obama. Obama even drew some Republicans to his side to vote for him. Even I'm an independent, I voted for Obama. And to say out their mouth that this is how you know something is not right. That that Biden got more, and I know they hated Trump. I know they did. They also hated Bush. Okay, they hated Bush for a passion. But to say that they got more votes than Obama, okay, I'm gonna believe you. If you say
but,
that
but,
cat, that
but
cat,
I'm willing everything you said. Let's assume everything you said is fact. None of that suggests that Trump won by a landslide. Maybe the idea that Biden
not
got
by
more.
win.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe you're suggesting that there's no way Biden could have got more votes than Obama. Let's say maybe that's true. So we got thousands of votes that Biden shouldn't have got, or maybe he got illegally. We still haven't gotten to the leap where Trump won by a landslide. There could be fraud by the Democratic Party, and the Democrats could still win. Where is the evidence that Trump won by a landslide?
Not gonna see evidence on either side. Not gonna see evidence
Why
on
is he
any
saying
side.
it? Then why is he saying it?
He's saying it because this is how he feels. This is how he feels. This is how a lot of us feel. I mean, this is how we feel. Just like with football, we don't feel that Tom Brady ever cheated. You're not gonna tell a Patriot fan that he cheated. Everybody else thinks that he cheated. You can't tell Dallas Cowboy fans that they didn't catch that ball. We saying yeah he didn't catch
All
the ball.
right. All
Hey,
right,
listen,
dude, but I got to
man,
move it on. But at the end of the day, you are admitting then there is
hey,
not enough evidence to suggest he won by a
there,
landslide. It's simply just
there's
how
no
you feel.
There's no evidence. There's no evidence, but we feel as though, looking at the numbers, at the end of the day, that he should have won. That he should have won by a landslide. The way that our votes was going. I'm gonna ask you this because you were talking about a third party, and I'm gonna tell you, the Republicans did not like Trump. Okay, we was gonna get rid of Trump until y'all started shoving down our throats that y'all gonna get rid of Trump. So we started putting the backing against Trump. If there was another person to come, and I always say on my platform, if Michelle Obama came out right now and said that she would run for president, she would win the nominee for presidency. And also, if Condoleezza Rice or I'm even say Candace Owen on the Republican side come out, and
No, Candace Owens
Candace,
is not doing anything. But go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
we know we're not doing anything. But if they put their hat in the ring, they would at least give us somebody else to go for, instead of Trump and Biden, because they're shoving Trump and Biden down our throats. Now, everybody's going to vote for Trump just to get back at Biden, just like they shoved Biden down their throat to get back at Trump. The supporters, that's what it is. They don't give a damn. Either one, any party right now don't give a damn about the country. This is just about, let me get my lick back. That's all it's about.
All right, all right. Yeah, I don't totally disagree with that. I do got to move it on, dude.
All right,
Always a pleasure. Good to have
bro.
you on again, man.
See you, man. Hey, go Eagles, and come on to the. Take it easy, bro.
All right, good talk. And I
Fan, and right now my team sucks. So until the Bears correct their problems with their everything from the quarterback to the defense, I'm gonna be shouting for Deion Sanders. All right, looking in the comments, I will never vote for Donald Trump, says Sarah Violet. Wow, and that's in all caps with multiple explanation points. Now, I actually believe my last caller, who admitted he voted for Trump, is a Trump supporter. I think what he said was very accurate in regards to they believe, folks like himself believe the election was taken from Trump, but it is primarily based on feelings. He even stated the proof is never going to come out, particularly proof to suggest Trump won by a landslide. That's different. And I will say in the comments on YouTube, I cannot pronounce the name. Susie Q says, "Thank you so much for the gentleman caller that is calling in, talking about my last caller. There is and was evidence all over the place. It's just that you couldn't get anyone on the left to watch it. The whole movie, 2000 Mules. First of all, 2000 Mules has been debunked, and I'll tell you that. But in regards to suggesting the left would not listen to the evidence that Trump would have been able to present, all 60 of those court judges that ruled against him, including the Supreme Court, that wouldn't even listen to what he had, those are not all liberals. Mike Pence isn't a liberal. Chris Christie isn't a liberal. Liz Cheney wasn't a liberal. I mean, it's not all liberals. I understand to fit the agenda, it should be a us against them mindset to make the enemy or to make the friends and foes seem more clear. There's a hell of a lot of Republicans that do not believe Trump lost. It's not just all liberals. In fact, how many members currently serving as Republican senators or Republican congresspeople are openly stating that Trump won 2020 by a landslide or even won at all? Name me some Republican senators, because you're saying it's all liberals. It's not all liberals that are saying this. All of those judges, or some of those judges were actually appointed by Trump himself. But I get to make the mindset clearer, you got to say it's the liberals against Trump, but it's not. All right, moving to the comment. By the way, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 10,000 likes. The program is, always will remain MAGA friendly. do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with the damn host. So understand that when you come in, the fact that you don't agree with yours truly does not mean a damn thing at all. We'll challenge you on your opinion. We do that here, but it's all about free speech. You can't, because there is a lot of rings. I don't quite get that. Do you want to have a real conversation, says Stephen McNally? What are the conversations I've had up to this point? We've been doing this for over a year. I mean, yeah, we'll take another real conversation, but I don't see where the ones we've been having are anything but American Outlaw. Good afternoon.
Trump, what did he actually know on January 6th? Because he told the Meet the Press, when she told him, you've had the entire, most of the senior members of your administration told you you had exhausted all of your legal challenges and this is as far as you can go. And she asked, why did you ignore them? And he said, because I did not respect them. That's why I went on January 6th and continued saying I won anyway. Is because the people that told me I lost, that I actually personally hired and appointed, I didn't respect them. At what point are you officially responsible for acknowledging what you've been told? American Outlaw, good afternoon.
What's going on, brother? What are you talking about today? I just was zoning through and want to stop in and say hi.
It's always a pleasure having you here. At what point is President Trump responsible for knowing that he lost the election? Or should he just get to have the right to dismiss any evidence, dismiss any court rulings, and just keep saying he won?
I mean, I don't know I don't know what his angle is at this point. We're a year out from him either being reelected or Joe Biden being reelected. I don't see the point in beating a dead horse at this point, man. I think he just needs to focus on what to do going forward. So I mean, I don't have an answer for that. I don't understand why. Um, yeah, I think people that are sitting back and looking at this objectively, like we had legitimate concerns about, like you just mentioned, the Supreme Court wouldn't hear his case. Well, the reason they wouldn't hear his case is because the case
You're breaking up.
have the executive power within it.
Wait a minute. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
you
to
were
get you
just
to
talking a
repeat
little bit
that.
ago about how the Supreme
Hold on, hang on. You began breaking up. You said the reason the Supreme Court did not hear his case was what reason you gave?
Yeah, because under a time of emergency, state
Okay,
governors have the ability to
unfortunately,
supersede.
okay, I don't know if it's me or whatever. Unfortunately, I had to drop him because he was breaking up. I could not hear his case. We'll keep it moving, though. Thank God for good judges, says Corey. Unfit Jackson. Does that? No, it says you fit. Okay, I'm surprised I didn't say that. News caution. The election would look very different when mailing votes were tallied that evening. Yeah, well, as I stated before, if you're in the mindset that you have won something and there is no one on earth that is going to tell you otherwise, at what point are you officially by law notified? Or do you just get, I mean, like for instance now, well, what is taking place? Could he show up and hold another rally at the next inauguration and say he didn't win again? I mean, at what point are you required to stop doing this knowing what could take place? I keep using the example fire at a crowded theater because just like if you yell fire at a crowded theater, something like January 6th could happen. It does appear that he was told over and over and over again that he had lost in 2020 and kept saying he won anyway. And here he is on Meet the Press just yesterday, nearly 3 years later, still saying he won by a landslide. I would have to ask at this point, who is still telling him he won? Where is he still getting information? Because Trump doesn't have access to the ballots. He doesn't have access to ballot officials and things. Where is he still receiving evidence this late in the game with Giuliani and Sidney Powell and all of those folks being sued to oblivion? Where is he getting evidence this late in the game to suggest that he still won? And the biggest question before I go back to the box is, why the hell don't we have that evidence? Why have we not received that evidence? And for folks in the comments bringing up 2,000 mules,
I watched the movie a half dozen times. And the problem I have with 2000 Mules, even if everything they showed you was genuine examples of cheating, the movie made the leap to suggest that everything we showed you, all of the fraud we just filmed, is all cheating in favor of Democrats. Without having access to the ballots being stuffed in mailboxes and things like that, you can't make that leap. There's no way you can suggest, even if you show ballots being stuffed in the mailbox at 3 a.m. over and over and over again, how can you automatically assume they're all in favor of a Democratic candidate? No one who watched the movie actually questioned that on the right. Why are we just automatically assuming that all of these people are cheating for Democrats? Maybe they're cheating. We could have that debate. But why are you just automatically assuming they're all doing it for Democrats? There's no way to legitimately make that claim. Looking in the box, we'll keep it moving. Army vet, good afternoon.
They're telling them that says Lion Cornerstone, perhaps.
I'm gonna be real
Army
quick.
vet.
I'm gonna be real quick.
Sure.
Before you ask your question, I wanted your first caller. He was like, "There's no way Biden got more votes than Obama." He did because more people voted in the 2020 election than they did when Obama came into office. More people voted as Republican and as Democrat than did when Obama ran. So that's how he got more, to answer his question. And
Were the votes,
when I went to
was
sleep,
it more people? Was it more people voting, or was the voting tally bigger because there were more illegal votes?
no, more people voted. And if you really look at the cases where people were caught actually cheating and voting more, the majority of them were Republicans, and it was never in the thousands cheating on either way. So it wouldn't have made a difference if they caught 10 people or 5 people. It wouldn't have changed the outcome of the election. So when they keep talking about cheating, they'll say a person here or a person there. It still would not have changed the outcome of the election. But they don't want to hear
And
that.
that's what and you raise an interesting point, because that's what I was telling the caller, is that even if you find cheating does not automatically equate to Trump winning by a landslide. That's Trump himself is not serving the election properly by not only saying there's cheating, but saying, "Hey, I won." You can show evidence of cheating, that doesn't mean you won.
Let me ask you something real quick. Since you've known about Trump, has Trump ever been wrong about something according to him? Has he ever lost anything according to him?
Yes.
Never.
No, I disagree. When it comes to Trump's appointees, he is constantly saying, "I appointed or hired the wrong person." He admits that.
Listen. He still blames that person. He will say that, yes, I hired them, but they were ineffective at their job.
Yeah.
Right? He's still putting it on someone else. He never accepts responsibility for shit. Never in his life.
I don't disagree with that. I do believe "the buck stops here" is a phrase you'll never hear Trump say.
Never. And so that's why he will continue to say that there's cheating. He will always say that he's got more evidence and never proves it, because all he wants to do is delay and confuse. If he delays and confuses, then he feels like that's going to help him in the long run. And so when he just says he's got proof, he never shows it. He was going to come out with some new stuff, and he was going to hold a press conference a couple of months ago, and he didn't do it. It just gives him a news cycle.
How do you think that works for his law team when he's constantly saying this stuff?
It doesn't. Everything that Trump is doing is he's trying to confuse the possible jury pool. He's going to delay as much as possible to see if he actually wins, so that he can stop any court actions against him. And he's trying to, even like Fani Willis, he can't stop that. That's a state case. And so that's why he's going to try to keep pushing and delaying to try to get that into federal. All he's doing is delay. That's what Trump has always done his whole life in any type of court action, is to delay and confuse the situation. But he never.
So how do you respond How do you respond to folks who say your opinion is just a matter of you hating on the president? Like in the comments, Brown's backer, who's a friend of the program, he says, "Hey, caller, what's it like to have so much hate for one man? I'd say it sucks." How do you respond to folks saying that your opinion is the way it is because you hate Trump so much?
Okay, so there's a couple of things that I'll say to that. First, I'm speaking facts. This ain't opinion. It's none of that. It's facts. Okay. The second thing is, I really dislike saying I hate anyone. I definitely hate that motherfucker. Like seriously, he's a racist piece of shit. He's been that way his whole damn life, and I absolutely hate racists. So if you got a problem with me disliking a racist or hating a racist, then you're probably one too.
Mm. I got you got a very windy background. Unfortunately, I'm have to move it
Yeah,
on, but
I do. That's why I
what,
wasn't going to stay on too long.
yeah, I'd like to know what's making you say the man is a racist, though.
Listen, I put it this way, if you take 5 Nazis and you put them at a table, and you take someone that said they're not a Nazi, sit at that same table, then you're a Nazi. Why would you sit with a Nazi if you're not one? Why would I sit with a KKK member if I'm not a KKK member? You don't hang out with people that you're not or that you don't agree with.
I
That's
got a
just common sense.
But I got an instant pushback. We often talk about Epstein and everybody who hung around Epstein. Does that mean that all of these people are the same as him because they hung around him?
Yes. Listen, a person can sit up there and say, hold on real quick. Let me run inside real quick because I know it's windy. And I'll say this real quick, okay? If you hang around with a human trafficker and you say to yourself, I don't agree with that, you don't tell on them, you don't point the police in the right direction, you are just as guilty,
So
right? You may not be doing
But wait a
anything with the
minute.
kids.
But if you're going to go with guilt by association, Trump used to hang out with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. I mean, does that mean he's a civil rights leader?
No, don't mean he's a civil rights leader, but he agreed with something, right? Trump was a Democrat for a long time, right?
Right.
So he agreed with something that they were advocating. So I'm just saying you can't totally disassociate yourself from someone when it's convenient. Oh, they did something wrong. I didn't know about that. So I disassociate. If you're around people long enough, you know dirt. You know what they're into. Whether you're into it or not, you know about it. And if you're not saying anything about it, that makes you culpable. You ever heard of what's it called? Like felony murder? You ever heard that before? That
I mean,
means
when it comes to Epstein,
it's
if
a
what you're
felony. They
saying is
committed a
true, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that if you're with someone,
Okay,
you're a
RB man,
felon.
I'm gonna move it up because you're breaking up real bad. All right, we'll keep it moving. His either his or my connection was breaking up. Looking in the comments, there is no guilt by association. That's just silly, says Pooch. In the court of law, yeah, guilt by association is not strong enough. Now, in probation court, they can lock your ass back up.
You can't hang with felons. There's a certain amount of people you cannot hang around because they do it in once you're on probation or parole or whatever it's called. But yeah, in court of law, guilt by association is not enough. However, if we're going to go with that, Trump has suggested that judges cannot handle this case because they're Muslim or Mexican. He's suggesting that judges cannot properly oversee his case because they're a Democrat. He is doing the guilt by association rap. Trump is basically saying if you are if you're among a group of people that do not support me, then you can't be a fair and impartial judge. That's guilt by association. It's also disrespectful because all judges generally vote in elections. They lean one way or another politically. If I go to court, do I have a right to say because I'm a Democrat, no Republican judge should be able to oversee my case? Or better yet, only Republican judges that can. If he goes to court and if he believes what he believes, then anytime he has a Republican judge, that's also unfair. It's just in his favor. I do believe that is highly disrespectful to the court to suggest that judges are unable to separate politics from adjudicating cases fairly. That's disrespect to the judge that's over your case. Because you or I are able to do things fairly. I mean, the fact that I lean left doesn't mean I can't judge the right fairly. That's a wrong thing to say, to prejudge somebody simply based on who they vote for. Certainly when they're going to be the judge over your case. Everything about that is wrong. Going to the box. We'll keep it moving with the CEO of Common Sense. Good afternoon.
To the program, we're asking the question: what did President Trump actually know on January 6th? CEO of Common Sense. Good afternoon.
What's up, buddy? I love your channel, man. I appreciate you for the content you put out. You keep it fair, and you're kind of
Thank you.
you're a fair guy to talk to. So, I just wanted to touch on a little bit on the. So I feel what you're saying about it's disrespectful to the court. However, I do feel that if a judge makes a statement or statements concerning an individual, such as a previous president, that judge, depending on the statements that she made, she should recuse herself. Not because, she's a Democrat or however you want to spin that, just for the simple fact that, if you make statements like that, if the evidence is there for Trump to be locked away regardless, it doesn't matter who the judge is. Correct?
Right.
So if
It
you
shouldn't
say
matter.
if
It
you
should
say
not
things
matter.
like that, yeah, it shouldn't. But if in that situation where a judge has openly said it many times or multiple times about this situation, she should recuse herself. And I mean that it's pretty fair to say. I mean that
But does
should be
that
how it's done.
but does that fit the description of all of these? Because Trump is criticizing multiple judges and prosecutors. Have all of them done that?
I'm not sure. I can't speak on any of them other than the I forget her name, Chalkin or whatever. I think it's the documents case judge.
Okay.
The one that's the only one. I can't speak on the other ones because I'm not sure. I don't have the information on that, to be honest.
Okay.
I know, in Georgia, I don't know how that's going to play out with that, but the documents case, that judge should recuse herself only for the simple fact, like if she didn't make any statements at all, and that was that, it is what it is. But now that she said that, she should recuse herself, and the people should be okay with that, even the people on the left. That's just
Well,
my
and
opinion on it.
I get your point, but I think you and I both realize, even if that did not happen and the judge was still a Democrat, Trump is still going to criticize you.
Oh, I mean, sure, but you're
Yeah.
adding fuel to the fire if you make statements like that, especially about a person, like Donald Trump, a previous president, and also the leading candidate of the, you know what I mean? Like that's a big deal. So
Do
probably
you
don't make
know,
statements like that.
but do you realize how difficult it's going to be to find somebody in the law world that didn't make a statement in regards to January 6th? That was like the biggest thing on TV for months. I don't think there's anybody that hasn't rendered an opinion on that.
Yeah, but judges, you're supposed to be fair and impartial. There's nothing impartial about saying something about one specific individual. That particular woman, she said something like, yeah, it was all head up by one guy and that guy is still walking free. That is a direct statement towards one individual. So you just became impartial. You got to go.
I kind of, I mean, I'm not totally disagreeing with what you're saying. I kind of get it. But at the same time, I guess the problem I have is that he said this about more than one judge. And you even admitted yourself that even if she didn't do it, she would still face the same criticism from him anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair to say. I don't disagree with that, just because,
Yeah.
Trump's essentially kind of, I mean, in a way, fighting for his life. Like, his freedom or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, man. It's all, to me, it seems a lot of these things seem very political, but I'm the type of person that I'm not going to just, not gonna just throw the towel in and say, oh yeah, it's over. I'd like to see this stuff play out. I'd like to see all of the evidence, not just, it's, I say it all the
What
time.
about
Trump is
speaking
not
about
above the law, but he's not below the law either.
speaking of wanting to see all the evidence? He's still saying he won the election by a landslide. Why is he saying that? Where's all the evidence?
I'm not sure on that. A lot of speculation on it. I can't speak on it. I'm just one guy. But I mean, if there was things that happened, because I do remember reading or seeing something about, especially in Georgia, how the election was certified and then like they were waiting on results of something to come back that didn't come back until after it was certified. I don't know. It could all be conspiracy. I'm not sure. But if there
Yeah,
is
but
evidence like
even
that,
if
I would like to hear it.
what you're saying actually happened, where is the evidence that he won by a landslide? If you could show some cheating happened in Georgia or some dead people voted in Wisconsin, how does that equate to him winning by a landslide? Where is the evidence of that?
Well, I mean, I think he won Georgia by 17,000 votes. I think something somewhere along those. If there are inaccuracies with that and something did happen, the American people should know that. But again, this could all be conspiracy things. Joe Biden is my president. I don't really like the guy. I lean right, obviously, as you can tell. I'm okay with what's going on, but at the same time, it just seems it doesn't pass the smell test when it comes to being politically driven. One, because of the timing, and two, what they put him through for 4 years. Trump is no saint. The man has a lot of problems. He's got an ego problem. He's your typical old, rich, white guy. It is what it is. But he did do good things for this country. They just fought him the whole way. It is what it is. It's life,
Well,
politics.
so in regards to them going after Trump for 4 years and fighting him the whole way, do you think where Trump was just a good guy trying to do what's best for the country and people just started attacking him for no reason at all?
Well, if you remember correctly, from the very first day he got elected, they were on his neck about just everything. And then, but see, the good thing about America is everybody, well, at least for me, I remember these things. I remember when they tried to impeach him twice. I remember the Russia thing. I remember what the Democrats did to Justice Kavanaugh and Barrett. I remember all of these things. A lot of people have that selective memory loss when it comes to those things. Like, I even remember reading a story where Trump and his wife was dancing at, they were having like a little dance and they were playing a certain song and the news media just blasted him like do you remember that story by chance?
Yeah,
I can't remember
yeah, I do.
the singer's name. So
Yeah, I
just
do.
that right there in itself, that story right there is a very small piece to a lot of what they did to that guy. And it's
Well,
just
let me ask you
on top
this.
of him having a pandemic, that's tough for anybody. I mean,
Well,
hey,
let me ask you this in regards to them attacking him, because you mentioned selective memory. Now you're talking about them going after petty stuff like him dancing with his wife. Do you remember the Obama in a tan suit scandal, or Obama not wearing a flag lapel, or Obama not saluting one of the soldiers when he gets off Marine One? Petty scandals. That's not unique to Trump, is it?
no, it's not. And you're right. You are right about that. But I just feel like if you sit back and you just put, like, if you could split a screen and have one screen show the line of questioning that they would ask Trump, and then on the other screen have the same line of, or a line of questioning to Biden, it just doesn't add up to me. Like, Biden doesn't
Let
they
me
don't
then.
ask him hard questions because for one, he wouldn't be able to answer it coherently. I mean, and for two, it's like, I don't even know if he knows the answer or not, to be honest. So I don't know. It's just so double-sided on some of these things. It's
But I
kind of
want
hard to
to,
watch.
some of the things you're saying, because I want to cue in on the selective memory part. You do remember Trump for a couple of years suggesting that Obama was born in Kenya and that he was sending investigators over there and finding out information
I do.
that's,
I do.
yeah. So when you say that You remember that. Do you think that anybody had the right to be angry with Trump for trying to disqualify the first black president on what has turned out to be a fraudulent claim that he was born in Kenya?
Yeah, I do agree with that, and I don't think that was one of Trump's highlighted moments. He was on the brink of like I think at that time wasn't he going against Hillary right around, or no, that was even
No,
before, I think.
no, Hillary wasn't running. Now, and the point I'm trying to make is you made a strong point that all of the things they've done to Trump, and they never gave him a chance from day one. And what I'm trying to point out is that him going after Obama is day zero. So when he got elected on day one, he had already been doing things for about 2 or 3 years continuous against the other president before him, so that when he got elected, people were already pissed off with him.
Oh yeah. I
So,
agree with that, but I mean, it's still political banter is one thing. They all do it, right and left, no doubt. But it just the Russia thing alone for me. Like I talk to people on TikTok every once in a while, and this kind of comes up, and it's like that man was president for 4 years. I think the Russia investigation took 2. So I think 2 or so. That's half of the man's political, uh, tenure under
yeah.
investigation for something that fell flat on its face. And then a lot of people on the left were like, well, there was convictions and prosecutions out of that. Yeah, there was. I'd like for a lot of people to understand that some of those convictions and prosecutions were from people on that nobody's, I think they were Russians or whatever. But it's like you go through all of that, and they're like, well, they did get convictions. Well, I'm like, well, if he broke the law and he colluded with the Russians, they're already indicting him for everything you could possibly imagine. Why aren't they
Well, let me.
indicting for him now?
But here's my response. So they went after him for 2 years on the Russian situation. If Trump wasn't constantly delaying things and telling folks not to answer subpoenas, they could wrap this stuff up quicker. Trump is trying to delay and stretch these cases, like with him being requested to show his taxes. He's specifically dragging this stuff out. Same thing with the documents case, where they claim they were trying to get those documents for a year and a half. This stuff
Mhm.
doesn't have to last as long. He's doing that on purpose.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's doing it for like a vendetta thing of again, like I think what they were doing to him. I don't know. I can't speak for him, but you as a guy that's on the left, that I believe that you think with an open mind. Do you think the Russia thing was a little bit more than what the media told you it was? Or I'm sorry, not as more, but do you think it was BS?
I don't think it was BS. I believe that Trump was trying to discredit President Biden because he knew he was going to be his adversary, and he was trying to deliberately threaten the Ukraine to give them some information on Biden if they wanted some aid. I believe there's something there. Do I believe it's something that he should have been impeached for? Do I believe he would have gotten impeached if he wasn't a guy who insulted so many people? I don't believe half of the shit he's dealing with would be happening if he wasn't talking shit and insulting so many people. So yeah, a hell of a lot of it is politically based, but that's what happens when you jump in the swamp.
I agree with you, but it doesn't make it right. Even you could rattle up the hornet's nest and all these people that attack you, you attack them. You shouldn't do that as a sitting president, just because a lot of people are looking up to you and all that good stuff. But that's not Trump. That's not why Trump was elected for his. If we could
You
have a
can't.
guy like Trump's demeanor on certain policies. If you could have that type of guy and then a speaker like Obama, you'd have the best of both worlds, but you can't. We have a guy now that's
You can't.
155,000 years old, and then we have a guy that's Trump, and that's all we got, I guess.
Well, I'm just going to say it like this. You can't do wrong and then complain when you're getting done wrong. For instance, lock her up. She hasn't had any due process. She wasn't found guilty in any court of law. Now that folks are saying that about Trump, the biggest comeback is he hasn't been found guilty of anything. Don't say that about him, but he was going around doing the exact same thing to Hillary Clinton. So I do stand by the point. You can't do wrong and then complain when people are doing you wrong.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that the other way around too, though. But yeah, you're right. You're right. You can't. But again, it's like if you dish it out, you have to be able to take it. So if the media and the left dish it to him and they don't want to take it back, I don't know. You can't just go and impeach people
Yeah,
for no reason.
but when
You know?
Trump was a citizen, nobody was attacking Trump. Trump was attacking people. He was attacking Hillary Clinton and Obama before he became president. He was the one that initiated all these attacks so that he could gain political ground. But he was the one that originally started out by attacking people. They didn't start out by attacking him. You can't do wrong and then complain when you're getting done wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, they also the no one gave Trump a shot to win the presidency over Hillary. No one until that evidence was discovered about Hillary, he didn't have a chance.
I don't disagree with that, but that doesn't excuse what he was doing in terms of saying she should be locked up without due process and all of that. I'm just saying the man himself has done to others all of the stuff he's complaining that's being done to him.
Yeah, and that's reciprocating. That goes
Yeah,
both directions there, you know. But
but
again, you
why?
have you ha-
But why does
you
it have to
because
go both? Why does it have to go both directions? Why don't he take the high ground if he think he's being mistreated so bad? Why does he have to keep doing it back and then complaining when he's receiving what he's also giving?
because it's an eye for an eye, both ways. Like, do you think it would be in his best interest to just lay down and not fight back?
It worked for
Imagine.
Obama. It
I'm
worked
not
for all
saying.
the other presidents. Yeah, I think it would be. When Kanye West stated that George W. Bush did not like white people, George Bush didn't get involved in the swamp and start attacking Kanye West back. Yeah, it would be in his best interest. You just said it yourself that if he had the right policies but spoke like Obama, he'd be a great guy. You don't need to
Yeah,
do that stuff.
yeah, I agree. But again, it comes down a lot to the. I mean, I don't know if you're going to agree with me here or not, but the media, the mainstream media has become a show in itself when it comes to political, favoritism. For example, the other day, Biden said something. He made a comment that, he was talking about, I think it was unemployment. He was talking about black people, and he said something. He's like, the people with no high school diplomas. Now, if Donald Trump would have said that, they would have crucified that guy. Crucified him. But since Biden says it, everyone just has that, oh, it's okay, he's old. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't
Well,
make
yeah,
any
but
sense.
you do realize that Trump just stated that Biden is going to get us involved in World War II, a war that ended over 70 years ago. Once again, if Biden had said that, the right would crucify him. That's kind of how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're talking about two totally different things. You're talking about Biden that has, for his entire political career, has said some racist ass shit nonstop. And it's like he gets a pass for what? Like, for what reason? Why would you give a man a pass? Like, I could see if the economy was booming, everything was doing good, but nothing's really that great. Nothing's really changed. We're more divided now than we were 4 years ago, in my opinion. And it's like, why does he get a pass for saying racist stuff like that? It doesn't
I
make
think
sense.
the
None of it
answer
made sense.
I tell you the answer is simple. Why does Biden, who has indeed, you're correct, you said racially suspicious, why does he get a pass compared to President Trump? It is because he is running against President Trump. If Biden was running against somebody who was not saying all of the stuff that you're kind of defending right now, I think Biden would be getting attacked more. But when folks on the right, on the left side of the aisle, hear crazy shit that Biden is saying, and then they have to look and say, but this is the guy who's going to replace him. Folks are just going to stick with Biden. I'm agreeing with you that he does sometimes get a pass. But the fact that on the right, you got Trump, that's going to continue getting Biden a pass until forever. I don't see any as long as you're putting Trump in as a replacement to Biden, I don't think he's ever going to be held in any dark light by minorities.
now. I mean, and that's a whole nother different topic
Yeah.
there. But I got to get back to work, man. It was good chatting with you, man. Appreciate the channel. Love your content, man.
Anytime. Come on back. All right. Moving on. Look.
Comments. How is it legal for a guy with dementia to even be a leader? Because you haven't proved he had dementia yet. There's no physician on record saying the guy has dementia. That's why. Just like some would say, well, how the hell is it legal for a felon to become president? Because he hasn't legally been convicted of a felony. Until you get someone on the record to suggest that Biden has dementia, he doesn't have it. Listen, folks on the detractor side of the aisle are going to say the worst shit they can. Remember, Obama was born in Kenya. Shouldn't surprise you that folks are saying Biden has dementia when he's slipping up as much as he's slipping up. But does that mean he actually has it? You got to get a physician on record to state that. And that has actually had access to Biden, not diagnosing him through the damn TV screen. And that has not happened. And one of the things I often talk about, and I'll go to the box, tap the screen, 800 plus of you in there, get your boy up to 30,000 likes. Could be any damn where you want to be on the app. I appreciate the fact that you're here. Show your boy some love, tap the screen, get my likes up. But in regards to Biden and his dementia, so to speak, I often talk about making it a left versus right type of agenda. But I want to ask you folks, where are the Republican senators, Republican Congress people that are openly stating Biden has dementia? Many of them believe he's not the guy to run the country. That's what a Republican should say. Liberals think the same thing about Trump. But where are the Republicans that actually have access to the commander-in-chief saying that he has dementia? The ones that show up to the State of the Union address. The ones that can actually phone him during a natural disaster. Where are those people at that are saying, look, I went and talked to the guy and the lights were on, but nobody was home? Everyone that I'm hearing state that the guy has dementia has no access to the guy. They're all diagnosing him through the television screen. That speaks volumes. Ted Cruz could say it. Lindsey Graham could come out and say that. They're not saying it. Why is that? Looking in the comment section, before we go back to the box, Biden only helps Ukraine. He don't care about America. Listen, at the end of the day, every single liberal that serves in political office, if you ask the right, does not give a damn about America. I'm not here to suggest who the hell cares about America or not. Whether you got folks taking a knee during the anthem because they want America to be a more diverse, racially acceptable country, or you got folks who are willing to go in the Capitol building and call themselves patriots. Everybody has their own opinion of what qualifies as somebody who loves America. I'm not going to go back and forth. Only thing I will say is this, in my humble opinion, if you have free speech, which is the very First Amendment in the Bill of Rights, you should be able to criticize the nation without people telling you to leave your damn country of origin. If you don't like America, you can leave. What part of free speech is that? Where you got to speak favorably of America or you're required to leave the damn country. I don't see anything patriotic or free about that at all. Looking in the comments, really handsome, you're not a Democrat, are you? Says Kenneth Pearson. Let me know what you got to say. Based on what? Going to the box? Appreciate you guys tapping the screen. Get your boy likes up. Let's make it an interesting with NJ rather, Nightmare.
You in there. Good afternoon.
Hey, bud.
Nightmare. Good.
Good, bud. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Talking about President Trump on January 6th, what did he actually know? Because he had a meet the press interview yesterday.
Yep.
Where the hostess said the most senior members of your legal team basically told you after losing over 60 court challenges that the process was over. There was no more, all the exhaustive measures have been taken. There's no more legal avenues for you to continue fighting for the election. She asked, why did you ignore all of them? And he said, because I did not respect them. So I'm asking
Right.
the question, at what point is he accountable for officially knowing he lost the election? Or is he in a position where he can say, no matter who tells me, no matter what evidence they show me, I just simply will never believe it, and I will continue telling people I won by a landslide?
He did more than that. He all but confessed that January 6th was his plan. That he was the center of it, the hub of it going out. And in saying so, he just gave Jack Smith everything at that moment. At that moment, Jack Smith is watching the interview. He knew he pissed his pants and fell out of his chair. He did that because he's got Trump now done. It's done. He just flat out admitted he was the hub of it all. You're done. He just pretty much admitted to the conspiracy as a whole of what he did on 1/6. He's done. He's done. Jack Smith is done. He's not going to barely have to do a damn thing now. He just handed the case to Jack on a platter. But here's my question to you, because you're also talking about Biden and people in the comments going, Biden this, Biden that, meh, meh, meh. So here's my answer to you. Here's my statement to you. If Biden was guilty of 1/10 of the stuff that Trump is being investigated now, we were in some bizarro universe and the names were just switched, but the crimes were just the same, I'd want to lock up Biden. I'm willing to lock up any
Well,
politician
let
who
me say this. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I do believe the liberal side of the aisle do not have anywhere near the love for Biden that the Republicans have for Trump. You don't hear anybody, even with Hunter Biden. I've not heard one liberal say that what they're doing to Hunter Biden is a witch hunt. I've heard people say it's revenge. Hell, even President Trump stated that if they had not come after him, maybe they wouldn't be going after Hunter Biden, which is basically admitting it may be a revenge play. But yeah, the liberals are not looking at Biden like anything they're accusing him of just has to be false. You're right. If he did committed a crime, in fact, I would submit to you this. There's a hell of a lot of folks on the left that wish Biden would be taken out of the path to the White House, because
Yeah,
most of the folks on the left don't even want him to be reelected.
yeah, you know what? It comes down to it. I'm sorry. If it's going to get called ageism, so be it. I'm sick and tired of 80-year-old people who do not have skin in the game anymore for the future of this country, for the future of this planet, to be making judgments anymore. I want a 40 something. Hell, if I had it my way, I'd have like a 36, 37-year-old there in power, whoever it is. I want new, fresh voice. I want new,
Well,
fresh look on things and a way to end this division and the way to, I don't even know. You know what? That's the thing. Like, I don't know at this point if
but
we
if
can
you
end this
want,
division.
with the age you just said, sounds like you need to be voting for Vivek Ramaswamy.
No, no, that guy's a nut. That guy's a complete nut. This guy's trying to, first, all of a sudden he gets on TikTok and trying to get the young. Wait a minute. You mean the same young whose right to vote you're trying to take away? Dude,
Yeah.
sit down, shut up. Sit down and shut up. You made that public. You wanted to change the voting age from 18 to 25 in civics test. Civics test? Okay, so you tell me if a 15 or 16-year-old passes the civics test, you're going to let them vote, Vivek? Oh, wait, no? Oh, ain't that a shame? Shut up.
Well, you already know what Vivek was trying to do. Vivek realizes that the 18 to 25-year-olds are highly unlikely to vote Republican. So what he's trying to do is put up a hurdle to make it so that some of them will not be able to vote.
Because they know that the vast majority of that age, Gen Z is coming to the rescue. Come the next vote, the vast majority of them will vote left, not right. The vast majority of them will vote Democrat. But they're going to they probably will in the end vote for Biden, but they'll do it holding their nose, as will I. If there's no one else better that comes along, yes, I'm going to vote for Biden, but I'm going to hold my nose while I do it.
Mm. I don't disagree. There's going to be a hell of a lot of nose holders voting for Biden. But let me ask you this. What is it about Biden that folks on the left do not like, other than age?
Other than age, I would like to see more hard work towards a living wage. I don't think he's fought hard enough for that. The infrastructure bill is all great and all, but we also have to be talking about law enforcement reformation. I'm not going to use the words that other hashtag that was out there for many years. I'm not even going to go there because I don't believe in it. I never liked it. But there has
Two
to be some,
words. Definitely two phrases. You're on to some two phrases that has probably hurt the Democratic Party like nothing else in our entire lifetime. Socialism, started by Bernie Sanders, and
Uh,
defund the police. Those two phrases have really hurt the Democratic Party significantly.
well, if I automatically say a living wage as opposed to a minimum wage, does that make me a socialist?
If Bernie Sanders hadn't said it first, no. But Bernie Sanders is out there. So anything that they can tie to a quote from Bernie Sanders, he is basically, because the Democratic Party never identified as being socialist until he came along. And now they've stuck that to everybody from Hillary Clinton to Barack Obama. Hillary Clinton hasn't shown any damn signs at all she wants to be a socialist. So, but
Listen,
Bernie Sanders hurt us.
it's the right wing and conservatives who scream socialism. I, for the record, in this conversation, have not used that word till you used it first.
Right.
I'm just talking about a living
I know
wage.
that. I know that.
I'm just talking about a living wage that people can earn and thrive. And as we thrive, as we all thrive, America thrives. That's the whole point of a living wage. The whole point of a living wage is for America to thrive and grow. And I thought that's what we want. Or do we want to get stuck with end stage capitalism with a crippling debt on everybody? The poverty rate's going up, and what goes up with it? Crime. And crime is a lovely thing that the Republicans always depend on. Crime's out of control. Crime's out of control. Really? Okay, then let's do something about it. Let's make the good long-term investment in America to bring that down the smart way. The answer is not just fucking corporate prisons at the yin yang where you can make all that money. It's to make more sense as a living wage so people can thrive and grow and pay their bills
But
and maybe even save money. You know what I mean?
How do you respond to folks who say during the Trump administration we were thriving?
Oh, worry when we were getting pennies on the dollar in the stimulus checks as opposed to other countries who were getting monthly recurring checks throughout the whole time. We got pennies on the dollars compared to them. This is supposedly the most powerful and wealthy nation on the earth, and look where we are now as far as the economy is concerned. More than 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So tell me, how again we were thriving? I'm sorry, I never really saw that.
Well, I got one. I do got to move it on, but before I do, I want to ask you this comment because I don't know what to do with it. But this came straight out of the comment section. You take it anywhere you want.
Okay.
CD Rocco stated, "Democrats don't care about us. They want to kill all of us." What does that
That's
mean?
insanity. That's projection. Honestly, that's projection. We're not the ones who were talking about civil war every time that, if Trump doesn't get reelected, it'd be civil war. They're screaming that bullshit still now. But we're the ones who wants to kill everybody? Really? Really? We're the ones who want to kill everybody when they're the ones screaming civil war the whole time. No.
Yeah, and that does come out quite a bit on the right. Is that we're looming to a civil war? So, final
Because they're the
question:
ones that want it.
Fair enough. So, final question: if Trump is either not reelected by the voting process, or the criminal justice system catches up with him,
Which that's
do you think we
definitely
will?
going to happen. I honestly thought that he was probably. I've been saying for a while now. Oh, he's only going to get house arrest. He's only going to get house arrest. Now I'm thinking, you know what? I think that guy might actually go to jail. I think that might actually happen. I didn't believe it for a long time, and now.
If
Well,
that happens, will there be civil unrest?
Probably. There is right now. What do you think a lot of these mass shootings going down for? You think that's not connected? Guess again.
You got scared the shit out of me. All right, I got to move it on, Nightmare. That was not good. Come on back in
listen,
the timeline.
Hold on a second. Let me say this much. I hope I'm wrong. I am 100%. I hope I'm wrong, and we don't see people die in the streets. Let me make that 100% clear. I don't want this any more than any other rational human being out there.
All right.
I want
totally
peace.
agree.
I want us to figure out a way to get through this and fix our country's problems. That's what I want. And when it comes down to it, me and the right wing, we just have a difference of opinion on how to make that happen.
Fair
when
enough.
it comes down to it, we both want the
All
same
right.
thing in the end.
Appreciate it. All right, looking in the comments, and I think we all want.
We just have a difference of opinion in what that is. I mean, can we have peace if you could have late-term abortions, for instance? Now, I'm not here to suggest that most people even want to have a late-term abortion. Can we have peace if you could have an AR with a 100-round drum? I don't know. How can we have peace when we are so divided politically on what we think is a good country? I don't know if we can have it. But I do appreciate the sentiment of New Jersey Nightmare. Looking in the comments. No, y'all, what did I say? No, y'all done went and took it too far, says Brown. Basically saying the left took it too far. And I know what he's talking about, even though I lean left. I don't necessarily agree, but I think that particularly with the trans community, folks on the right are really upset about that. I definitely think that the level of equality in this country may be going too far to some folks' liking. I think there are reasons where they see us taking things as too far. Just want to point that out. Pray for Maui. Government not helping in dim state ran by Dems. Shameful. Okay, pray for Maui. Fair enough. I don't, in regards to it being a Democratic state, let me just say this real quick. I could have a whole program on this. But in regards to Democratic areas, whether they're high crime or in this case, he's talking about Maui not taking care of his residents. If the Democratic areas are that bad, why do you believe the people continue voting for Democrats when there are Republican options? You talk about violence in Chicago. Well, it's a Democratic city. Look at all the crime. They have an option to vote Republican. Are we to believe that Americans as a whole are just too stupid, too dumb to see the benefits of the Republican Party? Out of the top 50 largest cities in America, only 9 of them have a Republican mayor. Almost 40 are ran by Democrats. Over and over and over and over again. Some of these cities have not had a Republican mayor in our lifetimes. If the Democrats are doing that bad, why is it so hard for the Republicans to convince them otherwise? At some point, talking about the Republicans, you cannot continue blaming it on the media or voter ignorance. Why is the message not getting out? What is it about the Republican Party that the overwhelming majority of the citizens in urban areas are avoiding them like the plague? If you're suggesting that cities are being ran so improperly. Look it in the comments. I'm real quick, real curious to see what you guys say. Easy Hub said, because Democrats are communists. That's all it is? Is that they're willing to accept crime, poverty, or whatever else you guys are suggesting is going on in Democratic areas simply because they're communists. That's all it takes. To me, that is way too simplified of an answer. Mr. PLP says you know the answer. Yeah, I kind of do, but I'm going to let you guys take it. Marvin says they would lose their free handouts and have to work like the rest of us, which is the suggestion that voting Americans in America's top 50 largest cities, the overwhelming majority of them are receiving free handouts. So if you go to Chicago or Houston or, any of these major Democratic urban areas, nobody's working. They're just all getting free handouts. Do we really believe that? That everybody just do you really think that, because there are plenty of Republican states, Tennessee, for instance, Memphis, major city in the state of Memphis. The city continues to vote Democrat. You think the state of Tennessee is giving all those people free handouts? It's a Republican governor. You think Governor Greg Abbott is giving everybody in the city of Houston free handouts? Where's that coming from? I don't know. And that's one of the things I will say is that if you do want to convince people to vote the other way, you can't insult the shit out of them like that. Because let's be clear, it doesn't matter what the level of these people are. The educated folks in urban areas are also voting Democrat. They're not getting free handouts. A lot of them make decent money. That doesn't make sense on its face. There has to be more than they just want free shit. That's just not a sufficient answer. And by the way, when you look at what the Democratic Party rather is running on, tuition assistance, I suppose, is probably the only free shit they're talking about giving out. Most of their biggest promises are pro-choice. That's not free shit. $15 minimum wage is not free shit. You got to go work and get the damn job. Police reform is not free shit. Look, just think about what the Democratic Party, their platform is. They're not talking about giving out free shit. Where's that coming from? Looking in the comments. Wait a minute. That BS. That's BS. How about the people in the Senate and Congress take a pay cut? Bacon Bear, we've already covered that. I'll go to the box, but we've already covered the fact that if you want the best and brightest to run this country, you can't take away all the damn perks that exist while they're doing it. Who the hell would want to become a congressperson or a member of the Senate when you take away term limits, take away how much they're getting paid so they're not getting paid much, take away any golden parachutes they may have access to? You want to cut their health care down to what you and I receive. They're putting their lives at risk to do that shit. You know how many people threaten these folks? Remember Gabby Giffords? Somebody walked up and popped her in the head? You want to do that job for $40,000 a year? Nobody's going to do it. So the idea of this term limits and lowering the pay and cutting all of that, that's just not going to happen if you want to get quality people. That's the whole problem with the school system and the police department in a lot of areas, is they don't pay the people shit, but you expect quality employees. I'm all for the logic it makes in suggesting that somebody shouldn't be in Washington forever and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you want quality people, that is the way you do the exact opposite. You're going to literally ooze all of the perks and benefits out of going to Washington and then expect good people to go to Washington. Good luck with that. Looking in the comments, Betty at the box. We'll keep it moving. JC, appreciate you holding up.
Did Trump know on January 6th? Because he's saying that he thought he won. JC, good afternoon.
How you doing, handsome?
Doing real good, doing great. I think you've been listening in.
Trump knew that he lost. He knew that he lost. If he honestly thought that he won, he would have never left the White House. They have him on tape saying, "I can't believe I lost to this guy." Trump lost.
I have heard that. They came out doing hearings.
Yeah, so what he does over and over again is, I believe there's something mentally wrong with Trump because he believes his own lie. I believe that he believes it. I don't believe that he's telling a lie.
We're being told that Biden has dementia. Now you're saying something's mentally wrong with Trump?
I think there's always been something mentally wrong with Trump.
Based on what?
Based on this weekend. He talked about running against Obama. He was beating Obama in the polls.
He did say that. He also talked about Biden possibly leading us to World War II.
World War II, yes. Yes, and he's talked about, how many times has he said the 1917 Spanish flu? It happened in 1918. It happened in 1918. And he says it over and over and over again because he convinces himself that he believes that the Spanish flu was in 1917.
Let me interrupt you because I'm often in awe of some of the defenses people can make, like locker room talk, some of the defenses people present for President Trump. When we talked about Trump leading us, but talked about Trump suggesting that Biden is leading us to World War II, Jewel in the audience corrected it and said, no, he meant World War II Part 2.
See, that's what they do. I believe what she's saying. That's what is what Trump's defense will be. I mean,
World War II Part 2.
Right.
So,
and Trump,
there was a 75-year gap between both movies. That's like Fast and Furious 11 coming out in 2100. That doesn't make any sense.
But, Trump says all of these things, and his supporters, they repeat word for word his lies. They repeat them. Joe Biden can't put two sentences together. Is that true? No, that's not true. He can barely walk to the helicopter. He walks to the helicopter, he walks off the helicopter. He makes speeches. Well, Joe Biden would only give Maui residents $700. That's not true. That's what FEMA can only give. Not Joe Biden, FEMA. But they believe everything he says. You listen to them on these TikToks. Everybody is a TikTok doctor. He's got dementia.
But some
How
of
do you
that,
know?
I will tell you though, some of that is the fault of the Democrats. Because one of the things I'll give Trump credit for is even if you don't agree with what he says, or even if you think what he's saying is dishonest, he has a lot of rallies and he gets out there and lets his people know how they're benefiting by reelecting him, even if he's not being honest. Biden does
And what
not hold enough gatherings so that when folks ask, even when you ask Democrats, what has Biden done to worthy of getting reelected? There's not a lot of people who can give a good answer because Biden is not out there singing his own praises.
that is true. He's not out there singing his own praises. But the other thing that you hit on is Trump believes and makes his believers believe the more people you have rallies, that's how you win. Joe
Yep.
Biden, Trump also said Joe Biden's in his basement. Well, Trump
Yeah.
got beat by a man by 7 million votes by a man in his basement who
I
didn't have
don't
rallies.
I don't think that's worded properly. I will say this. Trump got beat by a man because the man received more votes. However, the votes that man received were not for the man himself. Those votes were anti-Trump votes that Biden received on default. I don't think
I,
Biden
I
earned all
believe
of those
that.
votes he got.
No. You can't say he didn't earn them. You can't say that because they voted for him. Those were earned because they voted for him. You can't
So
say he didn't earn them.
if I hate your opposition, and I'm what a lot of the sports folks will say, I support the Dallas Cowboys and anybody else other than the Green Bay Packers. That doesn't mean that you're voting for Biden. If you really hate Trump, you would
You're
vote for
voting
any
against
liberal.
Trump. You're voting
Yeah,
against Trump. I
right.
believe, wait for this, you're sitting down. I believe the majority of the people that voted for Biden voted against Trump and not for Biden.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
I believe that. I believe that because first of all, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, if Trump would have thrown another check out there in October of 2020, he might have won.
Yeah, I would tell
I
you,
think he was a check away.
I think there's a few things Trump could have did. Well, first of all, the tweets and stuff got to go away. But if Trump had have actually given people universal health care, because a hell of a lot of people on the right even need that. Certainly,
Right,
just some of he could have leaned left just a little bit. And a
right.
hell of a lot of this stuff, even his own supporters need. I think he could have got reelected, but the mouth and the tweets, I think, are the biggest problem.
Yeah, but when you come in and you start saying, I mean, Trump is the one that says that he's the most persecuted president ever in history. Maybe not Lincoln. What happened to JFK?
Yeah, right.
Didn't
That's taking,
Reagan?
yeah.
Yeah, Reagan got shot.
But
Ford
in
There
regards
was
to Trump's
assassination attempts.
yeah, in regards to Trump's claim that he's been overly persecuted, a lot of that stuff is self-inflicted, such as the documents case. Just getting people
Right.
back the damn documents. That's a prosecution you didn't need to face.
But when you called Georgia and you said, I need you to find me 11,780 votes, that's one more than we have, we won your state. And the Republican district attorney that you're talking to is saying, listen, I voted for you. You did not win this state.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
Brad,
but
I want you to find me.
He believes Governor Kemp over the state of Georgia is a rhino and was in on the Biden side of the aisle.
Yeah, because they were in on it because he lost. Trump can't take a loss. Trump can't take a loss. Trump was at a golf course where he shot a whatever 74. He called his Westminster and said, "Who shot blah blah blah? Okay, make me the champion." Trump can't lose,
Mm.
and he has
So
convinced his people to repeat and repeat and repeat the things that he says. I don't go on TikToks when they repeat what he says. Joe Biden can't talk 2 sentences. Joe Biden doesn't know who he is. Obama is running. This is a third term for Obama.
Yeah.
I can't talk
Well,
to those people. I know you tried to. I can't reach out to those people.
I try to be patient, but JC, I do got to move it on. Always a
Okay,
pleasure.
bro. Thank you for letting me up, bro.
Not a problem. Good talk. All right.
Comments. Biden doesn't have anyone at his rallies. They certainly don't. They don't come to the numbers of Trump. The support for Biden, as my last caller was pointing out, it's just not there for Biden. The younger crowd, the under 25-year-old voters, what do they call them? Generation Z or whatever the hell it's called. They're not going to show up at a Biden rally. They're not all that energized about Biden. But the hatred for Trump among the voters 18 to 25 is off the chain. So when you look at a Biden rally, I don't see anybody young here. How the hell could he get 80% of the youth vote? Oh, he's going to get it. Just because the rally doesn't show that doesn't mean the people are not going to vote that way. There's no energy for Biden among that young crowd. It's the hatred for Trump. So I'm going to tell you the same thing we talked about in regards to the 2020 election. Crowd size does not dictate what's actually happening. Because anybody voting, and even some of my beloved MAGA will admit Biden received a hell of a lot of votes that were anti-Trump votes. They weren't pro-Biden, they just hated Trump. The people who are voting because they hate Trump, but are not all that excited about Biden, they're not going to show up at a rally. They don't care about Biden. They're just voting because they hate Trump. None of them are going to show up at a rally for Biden. And there are tens of millions of those people. I don't know out of the 80 million votes that Biden allegedly received, how many of them are simply anti-Trump votes, but it's a percentage. And I'm talking about on a scale of 1 to 100 in percentages, it is registrable. It is a large percentage of voters that voted for Biden that simply done it because they don't like Trump. And they would never be seen at a Biden rally. So that is the answer to the question of how can this guy win in his basement? How can he win when you look at the size of Trump rallies? It's because a whole lot of people voted for him that don't like him. They just hate Trump more. Looking in the comments, golf says pep rallies. Pep rallies are for high school. My guy Trump lost, says John, and that's what all of the courts are saying, is that Trump lost. But why won't Trump believe he lost? As the whole purpose of this live stream suggests that Trump did a interview on Meet the Press, NBC's flagship Sunday show, and the hostess asked him, she basically stated, the most senior lawyers of your administration told you after losing 60 different challenges, over 60 challenges, that the court process had been exhausted. And she asked him, why did you ignore all of these members of your own administration? His response was, I didn't respect them. So that's the whole purpose of the live stream. At what point is Trump responsible for acknowledging what he's been told officially? Or does he have the right to simply continue on and state, I don't give a damn how many people tell me I lost, what evidence they present, I am always going to tell the people I want. Is that the way we believe the president should be allowed to behave? Just simply tell people you won no matter what comes out. Because I don't respect the people telling me I lost. That could be anybody. That could literally be anybody. Going back to the box to keep it moving, we'll go straight to Mr. Krabs. I don't know what's going on. The box is moving everybody.
Been moving. Mr. Krabs on January 6th. Mr. Krabs, on January 6th, do you think Trump knew he lost or he genuinely believed he won?
No, I think he genuinely believes he won right now. I mean, this election was unprecedented. Just look at they were changing rules before. They were putting ballot boxes out in the middle of nowhere, 24/7 access. They were mailing ballots. Like my dead grandma got one. She died like almost a decade ago. She got a ballot in the mail. They were going
So,
around to these nursing
but
homes doing these things. It was obviously like stuff going on. They were stopping the counts because of pipes being frozen and stuff. It's a lot of stuff being interesting
But
stuff going on.
here's the problem in regards to what you're saying about changing rules and things like that. Every rule change that was made, the Republicans also had the right to use or utilize those rule changes. Why do we automatically assume that all of the rule changes only benefited Democrats?
That's a good point. But what we saw is where a lot of these things were happening, like where these voting machines stopped counting, like in Maricopa County, or where the pipe burst, and I believe was that Michigan? It's all in these highly contentious areas where it's like, he's got to go in there and
Well,
win it. It's not happening in like Kentucky or like
how do you
rural
know?
Montana.
If
It's
you
like it's
watch,
just happening
that's a
in
good point.
it's happening
That's a
in
good point,
Vegas. It's
Danny. That's a
happening
good
in
point.
Vegas where like they count for a living. All they do is count. And then when the election season comes around, it takes them 2 weeks to count the vote. Right there, I knew. I'm like, all right, it's probably bogus because all they do is count things there, and if they can't
But
count the votes,
here's the problem. You raise a good point and said it's only happening in highly contentious areas. You mentioned Maricopa County out in Arizona and Vegas. My response is, how do you know it wasn't happening in other areas? If you watch 2000 Mules, for instance, look at where they did their investigation. They go to Georgia, they go to Atlanta. They go to Wisconsin, they go to Milwaukee. They go to Michigan, they go to Detroit. They go to Pennsylvania, they only go to Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. If you're not checking Republican strongholds in rural areas, how do you know it's not happening there as well? If it's like if I only put police in your neighborhood, where do you think all the arrests are going to come from? So how do you
well,
know it's
for
not
that,
happening in other locations?
so for that, it happened. If it were to happen, they put it out early. They said they were going to do this. They put it out in the media. They go, well, there's going to be the red mirage, and on election day, it's going to look like Trump's win. It's going to look like he's got it in the bag. But then, just wait for those mail-in votes. Just wait. And what happened? All the votes that we're calling into contention, we're not calling into is they massively, overwhelmingly flipped it to Biden. 3 a.m. ballot dumps. Like, they were holding up posters, putting them up in the
Okay,
Michigan.
but what you're saying is it looks like all types of suspicious shit happened in favor of Biden. But how does that equate to Trump winning by a landslide? The Democrats could cheat and still actually have won the election. Where's the proof that Trump won by a landslide?
Oh, so that would just be like statisticians estimating on like voter counts. And like if you're an incumbent and you get 81 million votes, statistically, if you ask the statistician how many times are you going to win the election, it's probably going to be, 98% of the time you win the election, 99% of the time you win the election as an incumbent with 81 million votes. So he goes, well, that's where he gets that.
Okay, so if you simply go by what the statistician says, there would never be upsets in sports because they're going to always predict the team that's predicted to win. There would never be an upset.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're talking to someone who just hit 28 of his last, or 32 of his last, 28 of his last 32. So, you're walking into the wrong wheelhouse here. When it comes to sports gambling and the lines and stuff, that's not how it works because lines are set up it's based on where the money flow is happening. That has nothing to do with. There is
Okay.
based off of like skill players add points, but it's based
So,
off.
so let's think that we won't go too deep into sports. So let me ask you this then: if what you're saying is true, why do you think there are no Republican senators or Republican Congress people saying Trump won by a landslide? Folks who would have the most to benefit by him winning, they're not even claiming that. Why is that?
Well, that's not something that I would go around claiming because you would need like the evidence for it. Because I would want like evidence for that, but like it's really hard to say how many votes.
So why
are in
is
question.
so if you are a Republican senator and you're not going to claim this stuff without evidence, then why is the president doing it?
You have a few guys doing it, like Gates. You got Marjorie for a little bit. Like there was a few group of them, like the Freedom Caucus. Like, and the argument
Yeah, but
is,
what about the ones?
well, and to answer your question, the whole reason no one's doing it is because we think of Trump as an outsider. We look at him as a non-politician. and he's not in the uniparty. We look at the Senate, we look at Congress as a uniparty. It's just, a group of people arguing, but they're all on the same team. It's like,
Here's
they
the
all go
problem I
back to the
have though.
locker room at the end of the game, right? They're
But
all in unison.
here's the problem I have though. Mike Pence would have stood to gain a second term as vice president if Trump had actually won the election. Why would he not come out and say the election was stolen if he thought it was stolen?
He was a traitor. Yeah.
Why? What did Mike Pence do to trade? To become a traitor?
Why would you do that? I think it takes great courage to stand up there and say that the way that this has been going for 100 years, and if he actually believed that, do you know how much would be going on in his head? To like how many people would be in his ear, and like every single person would be telling him not to do that. It would be so easy to make the decision, well, no, I'm not going to certify these electors. No, you can't do that. And not pull the Pence card is what they were saying. It would take someone with who had President Trump's back 100%, and this guy was just part of the uniparty, and he made a bad decision.
But here's the problem I have with that. Now, Mike Pence was being asked to make this decision 2 months and 2 days after the 2020 election. Here we are nearly 3 years after that election. And even right now, has there been enough evidence produced to suggest the election should not be certified and that Trump won? You believe that there's been enough evidence produced at this point, 3 years out, to not certify the election or say that Trump won?
Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job displaying it. None of the courts would even hear it, though. Like, Texas court said the president of the United States didn't have, standing or something like that. Everyone likes to bring up all these court cases. Were any of these court cases deliberating any sort of votes or ballots or nothing like that? No, they were talking about standing. They were talking about, legal causes, getting the case into the court. They never were successful of getting the case in front of a judge. So
why do you think so many Republican courts either ruled against Trump or chose not to listen to him, like the Supreme Court? Why do you think that is? You don't think they're all rhinos, do you?
The Supreme Court, where they went hands off on it. They said that's not really on us. It would be more up to the DOD or an intelligence agency type thing to investigate it.
Why do you think they did that?
They went hands off. I don't know. The Supreme Court. I don't know. It's only 9 people. Maybe they're easy to compromise. 9 people aren't.
Three of those 9 people got their job because of Trump.
Yeah, and a lot of them are making really weird decisions, like Amy Coney Barrett. They're saying all these DACA kids can't get deported, or the families of them, and then they're pretty sure this Amy Coney Barrett says a man can compete in women's sports or something. These people aren't really. Can't really trust them too much,
Well, if you got 3 Supreme Court justices that were appointed by President Trump that you are saying you cannot trust, do you hold Trump accountable for appointing bad Supreme Court justices?
Yeah, I mean, I think he should have put someone in there that would have had his back when they brought that before the Supreme Court. The senior.
So is it safe to say, based on your judgment, that they're saying crazy things and didn't have the president's back? Is it safe to say that Trump dropped the ball when it came to appointing people to the Supreme Court?
I don't know about that, because the Supreme Court, I believe, is 9 justices, so you would need more than 2 or 3 or whatever he got to actually support him in that endeavor, which would be pretty monumental.
But even the 3 he appointed don't believe he won the election.
3 that he appointed?
Yeah.
So Clarence Thomas is on record saying that,
Clarence Thomas is not one of the ones he appointed. He didn't appoint Clarence Thomas. That was done by the Bush or Reagan or somebody. That was done years ago.
But my point is, not all 9 people have come out and said that, we don't believe that. And I don't think justices don't even come out and say things like that. We believe, they don't speak in stuff like that. They speak in absolutes. They're Supreme Court justices. They don't give opinions, So
I have to move it on. But one other question I want to ask you. Now, when it came to the 2020 election, Even though Trump lost the election, a lot of the down ballot Republican Congress and senators actually won their elections. And they actually performed better than what was predicted in 2020, the down ballot Republicans. What I'm asking is if the election was held fraudulently, because we don't just vote for president during the 2020 election, we vote for senators, Congress, legislation, councilmen, judges. You vote for a lot of things that during the election. If the election was held fraudulently, wouldn't that mean there's a hell of a lot of Republican senators and Congress people that also won a fraudulent election that year? Apparently, my caller either dropped or had a call. We'll keep it moving because I wanted to find that out. Anyhow, looking in the comments, but the president is the main way.
This guy just regurgitates Fox News, but kind of like he heard it through someone. Yeah, a lot of us do watch Fox. Hell, I've been accused of that sometimes. So why haven't any prosecutors indicted Democratic fraudsters? No evidence. And I'm going to say that the notion that even the Republican governors in the Republican states that Trump questioned, everybody that speaks against Trump is somehow a rhino. No. If the Democrats were committing these insane levels of fraud like people are suggesting, yeah, the Republican governors at the time, I think Arizona had a Republican governor when Trump claimed it was stolen. We know Georgia did. But when these folks rule against Trump, they somehow become rhinos and traitors. And it doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. I mean, it is possible to be a Republican or a Democrat and speak out against the president without being accused of being a traitor or a rhino or a treasonous. I don't buy into that. Every Democrat doesn't like Biden. That doesn't mean they're all dinos. We don't have a term like that, but that doesn't mean that speaking out against the president makes you all of this shit. And I will say what I often say. In regards to the term rhino, Republican in name only, meaning that you literally are not a Republican. You're just running as one in name only. Fact is, Trump is the rhino. All of these folks, the Mitt Romneys, the Liz Cheneys, these people, the Mike Pences, Trump does not have Republican values. Trump is MAGA. Trump runs his own party. Trump is the rhino. Very similar. He has a lot in common with Bernie Sanders. Trump is not a Democrat. Trump is not a Republican. Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. What both members were doing was trying to get elected to their respective party and change the whole damn party. Bernie Sanders was seeking to become president, push the Democratic Party way to the left, progressives, and socialism. That's not what the Democratic base wanted, which is why Bernie Sanders is often at odds with the traditional members of the Democratic Party. Trump is the exact same thing on the right. He is always at odds with the Republicans because he's not one of them. That's why you often hear people talking about rhinos and treasonous. No, their job is to instill Republican values in America, not follow behind a guy who's trying to run the country in a different direction. You may think that Trump's way of running the country is the right way. We're not going to debate that. Maybe you're correct, but he's not a Republican. His principles are not Republican-based. He's talking about fighting the NRA and things like that. Wow, president. So the only difference between Bernie Sanders and Trump is that Bernie Sanders lost and Trump won. And I definitely believe if Bernie Sanders had become president, he would have divided the Democratic Party the same way Trump has divided the Republican Party. Those who support Trump currently do not really trust hardly any of the Republican senators and Republican Congress in Washington. They view Trump as having the right direction for America, and for the most part, everybody else is an insider that probably needs to be removed. If Bernie Sanders had won, that same sentiment would have probably happened on the Democratic side of the aisle. You'd have had Bernie Sanders pushing the country way to the left, and a hell of a lot of traditional Democrats being viewed unfavorably by a lot of Democrats that supported Bernie Sanders. I don't know how the Republican Party is going to fare after Trump is out of the picture because they have become so divided, but it certainly came real close to happening on the left. Anyhow, looking in the comment section, host not out for we the people, says Tom. Depends on what side of the aisle you're on. I mean, the notion that I'm not for we the people, I don't think there's anyone that could step forward and somebody would say he's for every damn body. Because you're going to have a different viewpoint on abortion, religion, gun ownership, police. Everybody is going to be viewed by somebody else as not being for we the people. But I do appreciate your input. Bernie was never the nomination. No, he wasn't. But I'm just telling you the path he was trying to take the Democratic Party to. And that's why he didn't win the Democratic nominations, because the powers that be in the Democratic Party didn't want it. The powers that be in the Republican Party don't want Trump to be renominated either. I mean, right now, the Senate minority leader is Mitch McConnell. You think Mitch McConnell wants to see Trump get reelected? Probably not. Remember, Trump promised to drain the swamp. For Trump, the swamp is left-wing politicians and those on the right. Trump promised to come in, drain the swamp, name names, and get rid of everybody. Who would want to work with that? If somebody promised to get hired at your job and come in and drain the swamp, and they were already saying that you need to have a time limit how long you can work, your pay needs to be low, you're not going to want that person there. Trump is not beneficial if you're a senator or a congressperson. He's making everybody hate you. And it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. How many Republican senators in Congress have now had their reputations put at risk because Trump got elected? There's a hell of a lot of Republicans that secretly probably do not want Trump reelected. Probably don't, because he's been so outspoken. A lot of folks on the right believe that that's the right way to do things. Hell, there's folks on the left that support term limits too. But we're not senators, we're not congresspeople. But if I was a senator and I expected to be a senator for the next 3 elections or 4 elections, and here comes a guy saying I don't deserve but 2, I'm not going to want him to become president. If he's talking about after you're done being a senator, you shouldn't receive any perks or bonuses ever again for the rest of I don't want him to get elected. That's both sides of the aisle. That's not just left. Both sides. They're all cashing in on that shit. Looking in the comments. He fired everybody in his cabinet. Trump, yeah, he's known to get rid of people. Mitch McConnell is still trying to figure out if he wants to run again in 2026. I think the ship has sailed for Mitch McConnell. I think it's done. I think with the freezing and the way the right is, but I can't be for certain. Kentucky might reelect him again. I don't know. Let's talk Romney. Unapologetically melanated. You know, before we go into it, in regards to Mitt Romney, it really makes Biden look awful in regards to his statement back in, I think, 2012 is when Mitt Romney was running, and Biden, as vice president, said he was going to have y'all back in chains. Remember that comment? He's going to have y'all back in chains about Mitt Romney. If you talk to African Americans now in 2023, the ones that are yelling at Trump as racist and things like that, Mitt Romney comes out as soft as a dove compared to Trump. So that whole back in chains comment about Mitt Romney did not age well at all. Mitt Romney has not shown that was possible. Up to and including him going out and voting that Trump get impeached twice. So it does appear that Biden was wrongfully speaking in regards to Mitt Romney. History may tell us that we're wrongfully speaking against Trump. You never know. But right now, the comment he said about Mitt Romney did not age well. Mitt Romney was not trying to take America backwards. Nowhere near to the degree a lot of liberals believe Trump is. Looking in the comments, or better yet, the box. We'll keep it moving. moving on, we'll go with Fur the Great.
Did Trump know he had lost in 2020 on January 6th, 2021? Do you think Trump knew he had actually lost that election on January 6th?
I do, HL. I do. I do. Kind of like the interview this weekend. He kind of he has to be the worst client for a lawyer. I would be pulling my hair out. That dude is ridiculous, man.
How do you stop that? How do you stop your candidate or your client from running off at the mouth like that? He shouldn't be doing any interviews at all.
Agreed. You send him the bill and tell him you're done. That's what you do because he's not helping you win anything when he opens his mouth. I mean, he can't stay away from it. I mean, that's ego or stupid or a combination of both. I mean, I don't know.
Well, we definitely know Trump has a big ego. We know that. But yeah, I don't see how you could be his attorney and watch that meet the press interview and think, hey, this helped my client out significantly. No, I don't see why. I'm assuming his lawyers are telling him to shut the hell up. He just won't listen, I guess.
Yeah, and it's going to be to his detriment. I mean, the attacks on the people that's prosecuting him. I mean, you can still be tough without putting that out there. I mean, you're not earning any favor in the public, but your people that follow you. That's pretty much it.
But is there any real legitimate chance? And by the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 60,000. I haven't been soliciting that. Is there a real chance of the man actually going to jail, though? Do you really think that could actually happen?
You know what, HL? I was kind of with you in the beginning, like, nah, we wouldn't lock up a president, but he does a lot of unpresidential stuff. I mean, like we just talked about it. It's like, dude, shut the hell up. Like, I'm not even supporting the man, but I'm on the watching him like, dude, just shut the fuck up. Like, just be quiet, Talk about something else.
But you know what's really scary, and I appreciate you folks tapping the screen. Get your boy up to 60,000. Thank you. One of the things I have to ask, I had a caller earlier state that he believes if Trump is not reelected or if the criminal justice system catches up and incarcerates the man, we could have civil unrest. Do you believe the Americans are willing to go out, take up arms, and die over the outcome of President Trump?
The Americans are not. Maybe the true traitors will be those that do it.
What's the likelihood? What's the likelihood of having some major events if Trump is incarcerated or not reelected?
It's under 5%. I think that's all talk. I really do. I really
What
do.
about Trump? What about Trump? If he is not reelected or if he is incarcerated, what are the chances? 'Cause you said 5% of some bad shit. What are the chances that he may actually speak positively to the people and tell them, look, it was wrong, but don't do anything on my behalf?
0%. He'll never do that. He's a habitual line stepper, man. You know what I mean? That dude's just, he's entertainment, man. I mean, I said this to you a few months ago. You kind of like, man, what are you talking about? I mean, it's reality TV. You're fired. You're fired. I mean, that's what he does. I mean, I see 4 years or more of, you're fired. I'm the boss. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, that's why he talks
But
the
when
way he
you
does.
say 0%, I have to ask the obvious question: does Trump want to see the country burn?
Yeah, if it's about him, yeah, I'll say he'll say tear this shit apart. If it's about him, if it's in his name, yeah, he's for that. Anybody else probably not, but if it's about him, yeah, he's for it.
A patriot that is a law and order president wants to see the country burn if he don't get his way. Are you really serious?
Well, yeah, I mean, are we questioning if he thought he lost the election? Isn't that the same?
Yeah. Yeah, we are. Yeah. Wow.
But
Damn.
I wanted to ask you something, man. I tried to get you had a late night live one day, and it's on the same thing. You was talking about Miss Babbitt and all of that, and it kind of hit me when you was talking about it that I haven't heard nobody bring it up. That why isn't the other rioters being charged with her unaliving? If me and you went down to the corner store and knocked out the guy who was just selling cigarettes, and it went bad and he got unalived, they don't care what our intent was. All they care is
Yeah.
what the final action was. So I always thought that was kind of crazy myself.
Wow, that's an interesting point. Because, yeah, if you and I go rob a liquor store, And even if the shop owner kills you, I could be
Exactly.
charged with the murder because I was participating in the felony. That's an interesting point because technically, yeah, all of the rioters that were in that, at least in that particular area of the Capitol building, all because they were breaking out the window so she could climb through. All of
Right.
them technically could be charged with a homicide.
And I always thought that was kind of weird because, I'm from the city and it happens to guys all the time. Whether you just took him down there hey, I thought he was getting a pack of cigarettes. I didn't know. Well, they going to look at
Yeah.
you and be like, well, why didn't you call the cops? You know what I mean? Why didn't you call the
Man,
cops?
you know something? Wow, to charge all of those folks, there had to be hundreds of them in the room at that point. All of them with a homicide. You talk about civil unrest. Shit, we may have already had it.
And I hate to be Captain Obvious, but I've heard it said a lot of times before. But if those are BLM members, yeah, I don't think they'll run out enough ink. They'll charge every single one of them
You know,
real
when it's
fast.
crazy you say that, it's crazy you say that because when you bring up what happened on January 6th, BLM actions, Portland, Florida, or Portland, St. Louis, and different areas, Minneapolis after George Floyd, that's often a deflection of, you didn't do this to the folks with Black Lives Matter. But, I mean, shit. Yeah, we didn't charge a bunch of people with murder, but then again, did people lose their life at any of the Black Lives Matter protests?
I mean, the Rittenhouse thing, it was that, but I, not to the level that I'm aware of, and I don't know everything that it was on that, But
Yeah.
like you said, man, and people say, BLM. I think they was rioting and marching and doing whatever because someone lost their life. Life
Right.
versus an election. I don't see I don't see the correlation or the
What are the
parallels there.
chances? What are the chances if Trump is reelected that he would actually pardon all of them?
All the riders, I think that's probably 98, 95%. I mean,
Wow.
I think he'll pardon all of them. It's just funny that, it was only thugs during BLM, but it was only patriots that was at January 6th. Once
So
again,
then, when you use the difference between patriots and thugs, in your humble opinion, what does the word patriot mean to you?
Tom Brady, the guy on their helmet, shit, that's about what it means to me. It's all funny to me when I hear it. It's like, you're a patriot, okay. Something new, Tea Party, tea. I mean, what we doing, people? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's a reality show in my humble opinion. That's just what it
Yeah.
is.
It's interesting you said that because I had a video. In fact, I posted it on my profile here. This girl, she was focused on it looked like it was a Ford with gold rims. It was let down, and she was talking about stereotyping cars. And she said, I can tell the car I'm looking at likely belongs to a Mexican or a Hispanic because it's dropped down low and the type of rims. She said, if I see a car that has really big rims on it and loud music, I can tell that's a African American's car. And then she said, if I see a car that has bumper stickers on it all over the place, I can assume that probably belongs to a Caucasian. And then she ended by saying, if I see a car that has American flags and fuck Joe Biden on it, I believe that car is owned by a racist. Do you believe that you can tell that from people's vehicles? And she's like, if I see a car with flags all over it and fuck Joe Biden stickers or stuff like that and talking about patriots or the don't tread on me snake, she said that denotes a vehicle of a racist.
I wouldn't go racist. Like, I'm very, my grandparents, my father and them, they were activists. So racism is something that you just don't put on anybody, in my opinion. A lot of times I like to say 45 is racially insensitive because I don't want to just call the man a racist. But I definitely think he's racially insensitive. And he doesn't give a shit. Now, you can take that last leap. Like I said, me personally, it's hard for me to just call out someone a racist unless they've been racist towards me personally or someone I know. But yeah, he's racially insensitive. I can see what people, and I mean, I always tell people, the bigots outwardly, proudly support him. So I don't know what that says, but that says a lot to me.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Appreciate it,
All right.
Vertigrade. I do got to move it on. Appreciate
You
you
know
coming
what,
in here.
HL? Hey, one more thing, man. Quit banning my
Sure.
guy. Quit fucking banning my guy. I'm telling the people in the comments, leave
Oh,
HL alone. Y'all mess my day up, man. I'm in the middle of a live. Y'all gonna cut my man. If you can't stay in
I
the
get it
heat,
all
get
the
the hell
time,
out the
man.
kitchen. Get out the kitchen. But that's it, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for the good word. Come on back anytime. Any
Folks, I do appreciate that. And yeah, we do get our fair share of bans. Sometimes people don't like some of the callers. I get it all the time. Looking in the comments, racist, one group of Republicans, not all are racist. Gun lovers, another group, not necessarily racist. I agree with that. I'm with my last caller. I don't just automatically group people up as being racist and things like that. But I do agree. You can kind of tell the type of your car, if it's got all of these additions on it, it does say something about you, though. I do believe that. Now, in regards to a car that has fuck Joe, okay, it's clearly a Republican. We know that. So it could be that. You don't see, there's a lot of Democrats that do not favor Joe Biden. But you're not going to see a Democrat with a fuck Joe Biden sticker on their car. That's a Republican that's saying that. That is, and most likely, it is MAGA. I don't even know if I would see the Mitt Romney types, the Liz Cheney types having a fuck Joe Biden sticker. That's generally MAGA that's saying that because the Trump side of the aisle is a bit more abrasive in their communication. The insults and things like that is coming more on the right. There are insults on the left as well. I'm not going to discount that. But on the right, the insults are coming from MAGA, not necessarily traditional Republicans. There is a difference in that as well. Looking in the comments, yes, you can tell MAGA by the vehicles. In Canada, we say FJT. Fuck, that's Trudeau you talking about up there? Well, if you're saying fuck Trudeau in Canada, chances are you favor Trump. I get a lot of Canadians on the program that think Trump was doing great for this country. And you're likely in Canada adopting his style, which is being insultive. You're insulting your opposition. That could be. I mean, because I've heard plenty of, like I said, Canadians that support Trump. Violent is MAGA. I don't think all Trump supporters are violent. I don't know if I would buy that one. If you can't take criticism, don't come on a damn chat room, says Jeff Underwood. Yeah, being a guy who leans left and just enjoying conversation with MAGA, yeah, there's no way in hell I could run a program like. Folks who ask me all the time, but damn, how could you be so patient? I lean left and I'm talking to folks on the right, the MAGA faction of the right primarily. I get insulted in the comments all the damn time. I mean, and then the liberals are calling me Uncle Toms and Sambos and sellouts and shit too. You can't be on social media engaging in political conversation if you can't handle insults. I agree with that 100%. The working class are those who have those stickers. That is true. That is true. The working class of MAGA are the ones that have those stickers, not the working class that might support Mitt Romney or the liberal. Yeah, it's the working class of MAGA that have those stickers. Hardly any Trump supporters are violent, but FAFO though. It's hard to say because the FAFO crowd technically are not violent until they're pushed. Shout out to Tupac. I'm not a killer, but don't push me. That's what FAFO are. When you see it fuck around and find out, that's generally the white side. The black side of fuck around and find out is called I wish a motherfucker would. Both of them are saying the same thing. I'm not going to do anything to anybody, but I'm hoping somebody does something to me so I can bestow violence upon them. That's what fuck around and find out or I wish a motherfucker would means. Is that I'm going to maintain and mind my own damn business, but I am capable of being incredibly violent if you push me. And when you say fuck around and find out or I wish a motherfucker would, not only are you capable of violence, you're hoping someone crosses the line to give you a reason to do it. Similar to the Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry character or Charles Bronson Death Wish. Decent, law-abiding citizens hoping that someone provokes them so that they can take a reason to bestow violence on that person. That's what I wish a motherfucker would, and fuck around and find out is all about. I want to stand my ground and show somebody that they mess with the wrong person. I just need you to give me a reason. I'm not going to try to avoid being violent with you at all. I just need you to provoke it first. That's what we're talking about. Looking in the comments. Charles Bronson, what a blast from the past. Yes, I actually watched Death Wish 2. Just real quick off the topic. Hulu, the streaming service, has all 4 Death Wishes. I happen to just get bored, put Death Wish 2 on. There's a really graphic rape scene in that would not even translate to today's movies. That movie is violent as hell. Death Wish 2 from the early 1980s. Looking in the comments. Dale Heat, I disagree on that, about what that means. We can disagree, but I think the fuck around and find out, and I wish a motherfucker would crowd has made it clear that they would bestow violence. That's what they're talking about. I don't see the part you disagree with. They clearly are willing to be violent. Anyone saying I wish a motherfucker would or fuck around and find out is going to stand their ground. None of them are talking about backing down from a conflict, even if there's a way to do so. You don't hear I wish a motherfucker would and fuck around and find out and think de-escalation. You think of people that are looking for a fight. I would give you someone like George Zimmerman is a perfect example. Even if George Zimmerman taking the life of Trayvon, even if he was 100% justified in doing that, that's what can happen when you don't stand your ground or when you don't look to de-escalate. You're looking for a fight, sometimes you find one. Looking in the comments, remember when a jury found that there was enough evidence to prove Trump S.A. Jean E. Carroll? Yeah. In fact, they recently found enough evidence to say he defamed her again. Jean Carroll is getting paid. She's old, but her grandchildren are going to benefit from that money. I mean, because unlike Giuliani, Trump has money to pay some of these people that are winning defamation suits against him. And the way he's criticizing judges and some of these folks, he's still defaming people. I don't know if any of them are going to sue. I know the Ruby Freeman, the mom and daughter team in Georgia, they sued Rudolph Giuliani again. Like, that poor guy's got defamation suits coming out of his ass. Between Dominion, Ruby Freeman, and all. Look, there has to be accountability for what you say. This is what the whole live was about, is Trump saying he won on January 6th, even though his own senior officials in his legal team told him he lost. At what point are you accountable for what you say? That's the whole purpose of the live stream, up to and including the election. If everybody that you hired to check into the election, even the cyber ninjas, if all of them are coming back and saying you lost, at what point are you now becoming negligent to continue saying you won? Even the people you are hiring are telling you you lost. So you fire them all and get some more people that'll tell you what you want to hear. I don't get that part, because we don't want to set a precedent for the next president. I don't ever have to admit I lost. Trump has basically made it clear that even if I lose, I don't have to concede. I can just tell people I won. I don't need any proof. The law's not going to hold me accountable. I can just say I didn't think I won. I didn't think I lost. And nobody can hold me to account otherwise. Does that work to the benefit of America? Is there anybody that believes that's a good thing to set a precedent for? At some point, if everybody is telling you you lost, the courts are ruling against you, at the very least, even if you don't think you lost, you got to stop saying it. You just can't continue going around the world saying you won. He's even on the world stage. And some of the, before he left office, he's in other places around the world telling people he won. I don't know. I mean, to me, at some point, I mean, do you have a judge? You can't gag the man. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but at some point, it is what it is. I mean, you've had your chance in the justice system. Even if the courts rule against you, you just can't keep going on and on and on. I mean, that's the reason we have court, appellate court, Supreme Court. After that, you've lost. You just can't keep going on into space. And that's what he plans to do. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate you folks tuning in. You know what this is. This is indeed a lunch break live. If you enjoy civilized dialogue, both sides of the aisle, follow the program. It's what we do Monday through Friday generally. You're in the right place if you're not worried about being blocked or banned or censored. We don't block, ban, or censor anybody. The program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. But for now, it's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I gotta go.